Okay, today's Saturday. It's 1:20 p.m. It is June 6th. Okay. Now, now I have a strategy. Okay, I do have a strategy, but I read on Google search that when the mind is tired, uh, it tends to be drawn into certain things like a spike and uh, and mindless kind of a trading occurs. Okay, it's documented. It's a well-known thing that novice traders do. Okay, and so what has been so I am able to during the quiet periods. Okay, during the quiet periods, I'm able to make money. So I'm essentially a quiet period trader. Okay, I'm a quiet period trader. But when there's some volatility that kicks in abruptly, I tend to get frazzled and get it's I suppose it's like a owner of a dog calls out the dog's name and then throws a stick uh, throw the stick to play fetch, and the dog gets so excited. Okay, doesn't even know what to do. So I'm not a dog man. Okay, uh, uh, so if I were to be a pet owner, uh, between a cat and a dog. Okay, so so usually what the dogs will do is that dogs are needy. Okay, all right. In a couple of respects, cats need food, dogs need food, but cats has a litter box, but dogs don't. And so what that means is, to the dog, I, a human being, is a pooper scooper. That's all I am. I am a pooper scooper. So the dog eats for free, and then has a personal pooper scooper walking around them, right? And so because of that reason, uh, I'm leaning towards being a cat person. Okay, right? That's the reason. The cost and the compensation have of owning a see. I can't even afford a place to stay, right? And so I'm living out of my car, so I can't even own a pet. But that's the distinction between a cat and a dog. Okay, so so what happens is this: when a dog is left out in the front yard, and I go away for a while, maybe a day or 2 or 3 days, and then when I come back, the dog gets so excited. It wags its tail, rolls around, and things like that, and then jumps up on you. Okay, because it has lost all sense of itself. Because this dog has a brain. Okay, and that brain is also releasing these endorphins and things like that because the dog is excited and it doesn't know what to do for itself. But a big dog, the body is able to absorb. The body is able to absorb the potency of the chemicals that are being released to the body. Okay, the brain is releasing it into the body. But a small dog will go nuts. It's because it has the potency that is similar. Okay, in quantity, but because the body is small, it is incapable of absorbing it. But if you have like these big dogs that are in a similar way, their body's so huge that it takes time for the chemicals to release. But but the thoughts are there, but the reaction is slower because the chemical reaction to that stimulus is slower and smaller compared to the quantity of the body, right? And so in my mind, in my body, what's happening is that when something like a huge red bar or green bar occurs, especially when I'm in a when I'm especially when I'm tired what that will do is it's been documented on Google. It says that usually when the because I was looking at the three types, there are three types of trading capitals. Okay, there's the trading capital, financial capital. There's the mental capital. Then there's also a psychological capital. Okay, there are three different types of capitals. The psychological capital has is the tilt, and then the mental capital is whether I'm fatigued or not. Okay, is my mind uh, is way down because the energy that's required isn't there. Okay, that's one way of not being able to not being ready to trade. And the other part is when my account is depleted, I can't trade, right? So there are three types. There are three types that are there are three types. Okay, and so so those have been plaguing me for the ever since because it's has always been around. But uh, but the reality, because of its complexity, because of its complexity. So I heard this. Okay, so when the solar system was initially created, the particles collided together and around the ring, and that ring collected itself into a shape, which is the Earth. And so a uh, there's a gaseous planet, and there's a planetary uh, planet. Okay, so uh, so there's solid planets and there are gassy planets, and these solid planets are made up of these particles that clump together to form into a planet like Earth. Okay, but before then, what it would do is it has a scattered matter that is around the ring. Okay, it creates a ring of fractured particles, and these particles start to in the inception of the solar system. And what it will do is it'll collect itself and form into Earth. It'll collect itself. Okay. So initially, so so when I look at that, trading is forming into these things because initially I don't even know what's what when I start trading. Then, as I start to develop into a conscious trader, a knowledgeable trader, I begin to collect these things together to form into an identity of what trading really is, right? So what trading really is identifying these things. There are two parts of it, which is one part of it is the the description of the market. Okay, the description of the market, that is not me. Okay, it is the market. It's not me, it's the market. It is a true representation of the market, which is not me. Then there's the second part, which is me. Okay, which is the emotional, psychologically deficient. Okay, the three parts of it, which is this. Okay, the first part is capital. If I have it, a chip in a chair, if I have the capital, I can trade. The second part is the mental capital. Okay, and mental capital has been plaguing me because I was not able to see that part of me that was me. Okay, and then there's also the psychological capital, which is the primary, one of the biggest ones is the tilt. I get on a tilt, and it's a doozy. When I get on a tilt, I could lose a challenge in 5 minutes. Okay, I could. What I would do without me knowing it is this. Okay, it's a good thing that I don't carry that over into the real world. Okay, it's like people who have who have what did I call it? People, they call these people who are reactionary, who are like hot blooded, who are there's a word for these people like me. It's like um, so they wear their emotion on their shoulder. Okay, so there's a word for that. Um, hot tempered. Okay, it's called a hot tempered. Okay, somebody who's hot tempered are prone to emotion, and when somebody is hot tempered, what will happen is that when there's an emotional state, they will latch into a mindset where they lose control. Okay, that is common in situations where uh, there is a uh, 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 when there is a traffic kind of a situation where there's a heightened sense of tension, when there is tension and conflict, okay, and abrupt when an abrupt conflict and tension arises, the hot-blooded person will lash out. Okay, it happens. So like Thursday was a prime example. Okay, so I'm doing my prep work, and this 15-year-old comes over with a dirty dish, just scrapes across my back. Okay, so what that will do to a hot-blooded person was cause an enormous amount of agitation. Okay, they know that. They know that it does that because they know. So they want to cause it upon somebody like myself who's innocent, right? Just standing there doing the work. And so what that will do is cause a hot-blooded person to lose control, to get fired. Okay, that's what they want. Okay, because they know. It's so I'm there's some. But I'll tell you what, there's some really devious things that's going on. I never thought I never saw it. I never realized it. But there are things going on in the background. Only now I'm beginning to understand it. Okay, only now I'm beginning to see what's going behind the scenes. If believing Jesus Christ, okay, believing Christ, but not having seen Jesus Christ, is the ability to put things together. Okay. Okay, what is obvious? Okay, what is obvious? All right, a scientist cannot say for certainty that there's another solar system out there. They cannot, because it's not an observable thing. Okay, it is not an observable thing. They cannot say that. In order to be a credible scientist, they cannot say that. But somebody who is a Christian who has faith knows that the edge of the universe is the edge of my universe is smaller than the head of a needle. Okay? Far, far, far smaller, because there's a term called infinity. Okay? There's something called infinity. So the expansion of that infinity means my existence here is infinitesimally small. It's unimaginable to grasp the concept of infinity. Okay, infinity. Okay, it's like it's how does something like that exist in this physical world? How does that work? How does that work? How does infinity exist? Okay, how does infinity exist? It just, I mean, it's infinity means that what I am is zero. It's zero, nothing. I don't exist. So it means that I exist and I don't exist at the same time. That's what infinity means. Infinity means that I exist and I don't exist at the same time. That's what it means. It's like I am this big, and then I compare myself to the infinity, but if I compare to infinity, I'm essentially nothing. Zero. Nada. It's nothing. It is taking the smallest of the smallest of the smallest and then making it as smaller by infinity. Okay, smaller, right? That's what it means. Okay? So it's like, so I exist and not exist at the same time. So that's what it means. I exist and not exist at the same time. That's what it means. Okay, so just get that idea right there. Okay, so I exist and not exist at the same time. That's what it means. The concept of infinity is this. I exist and not exist at the same time. That's what it means. Okay? That's wild. That's really, really wild. That's crazy wild. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting like chills. The size of infinity is so huge that I exist and not exist. Compared to infinity, I am zero, nothing. I don't exist whatsoever. Okay? But my consciousness is telling me that I exist. Okay? So these are the two. See, this is the two principles of. So there's me and there's infinity. Okay? So I exist and I don't exist at the same time. All right? I exist and I don't exist at the same time. Just get that into my brain. That's like, how is that possible? I exist and I don't exist at the same time when I'm comparing myself to the enormity of the physical world. Okay? The enormity of the physical world is infinity. So the infinity is so massive. So it's like zooming out forever. And so I'm right here. I'm looking at myself and I'm zooming out. I'm zooming out. See that? That means if I'm zooming out infinity, then I become nothing. This is mind-boggling, isn't it? That's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. So where was I? Okay, so there's this dog, whether I'm a cat person or a dog person, okay? So I'm leaning towards being a cat person because the cat has a litter box. But all I have to do is, I am still a pooper scooper, right? I am still a pooper scooper because the cat poops on the sandbox, the litter box, and I have to scoop it out, right? Of course, there's machines for that, but you have to scoop it up and put it in the trash can. That's what it is. So you have a pet that's living for free, okay? It's a freeloader, okay? And then at the same time, I'm having to scoop up its poop, okay? So I'm housing and picking up its poop and then also feeding this cat, okay? Which is very similar, but it gets messier for the dog because the bigger dog is bigger, okay? And then you have to walk them. And then when you walk them, they do their business, okay? And so you have to literally put a plastic bag in your hand and you have to grab it. And so where was I? Okay, I'm like... So I need to make sure that I'm prepared for this week and the following week because what's happening is, so what are the mechanisms that are causing me to lose? Okay, and I have to take this very, very seriously. I have to make sure, because I'd be like up like 4% and I just like lose my mind and I just go the other way. I mean, Friday was a perfect example. I was at 2.8%. I didn't need to trade that. I didn't need to do that, but I did. I don't know why. I do know why now. Because I get attracted to this bling bling, right? Because it's being human. I am human. I thought I was a robot. Okay, but I'm not. I'm a feeling human being. I make mistakes and I say things. Okay, I say things that I don't mean. I say things that I mean. I say things that I don't mean, and that's being a human being. Okay, I'm no different. Okay, I am the novice trader. I am, and what's making me a novice trader is being human. Okay, being very, very human in trading. But I can't be a human being when I'm making these trades. And what are these things that are undermining my trading? Okay, what are they? Okay, see, I took this trade. I was up 2.8%, but I did something that undermined my own safety in trading. Okay, I was up 2.8% above $10,000, and then when the day was partially over, I looked back and one of the gating things that I was supposed to have was never there. Okay, it was never there. The stop loss was never there, and so it drew back down, and then after I lost, then I lost again because this internals are saying. I said to myself this. I said, look, I know what's going to happen. Okay, I know after a big loss, whatever I do is psychologically compromised. And so whatever I do, I'm going to lose. I know it. Okay? even though initially I made the right trade and I could have gotten out with a small gain, I could have repeated that multiple times. But as soon as I added in there, thinking that it's going to be bigger, and then the internet went out, and then so there are things that chaotic things do occur. If I if I if I didn't have the cell phone with the internet on there, I would have lost. Okay, because the internet was down. Okay, it happens quite often here. I don't know why. It happens quite often. The internet cuts out. I don't know. It's been happening. That's one thing that I don't know if they can fix that or not. I don't know. Okay, but it's so when that happens, see for these people who are like doing other work aside from like day trading, which requires a constant connection with the internet. If there's a interruption with the internet, it'll cause a devastating financial loss. Okay, okay. So Regis may not know that. They don't know that, but that's been happening quite a while, right? Quite often. So I have this cell phone which has the ability to it has the hotspot feature, which means that I can turn it on and connect it to this computer so that I can trade. I was able to do that. And I was able to save account because if I didn't exit, I would have lost. Okay, that was how delicate it was on Friday. Okay, I'm currently down 1.8%. Okay, which means that based on my calculation, even if I were to get 1% per day, I gotta make 1% per day for the next 2 weeks. But if I have another day like a 3% or a 4% loss, then it's gonna just bring me back down again. It's like it's doing this. I've been doing this for the past 2 weeks. So I'd be up 4% and I would lose 4.5%. Okay. And then I would be up 3%. I would be down 3%. I would be up 3%. I'll be down 4%. Okay. So it's been like that. It's been like that for the past 2 weeks. Okay. So it's like if I didn't trade today, if I didn't trade Friday, if I didn't trade the other 2 days, it would have been fine. Okay. But the concept of not trading doesn't hasn't so the concept of not trading hasn't hit me yet. Okay, because what will happen is when I'm trading, it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, there are 5 days of trading. Okay, these 5 days of trading, uh, in a month, certain days will be profitable, certain days won't be because there are certain news events that makes it more tricky to trade. But because the way that I trade is that I'm settled into a comfortable situation of my strategy, and when I achieve my when I achieve a comfort in my trading, when I achieve a comfort in my trading, then I tend to be I tend to essentially be settled into the comfort. Okay, I tend to be settled into my comfort level, and that when there is an abrupt change, I get so excited. Okay, that there is a stimulus that's been injected into me, and that causes me to behave without the guards and the protection that keeps me safe from making these bad trades. Okay, bad decisions. Okay, these poor decisions arise from allowing the subconscious to take over and allow the subconscious to take over. Okay, so I have to work on these things. I have to work on a couple factors. Okay, I could have made a lot of money if I just shorted, but I didn't. Okay, because I'm tending to what I'm tempting to do is stay on the long side, but long side doesn't work when the whole market is red. Okay, so that means in order for me to be aware of how to trade, then I need to either stay out of the market or not, or just stay out of the market. Okay, if the market conditions are not there, I need to stay out of the market. But I haven't practiced doing that yet. I have not practiced that. I have not utilized that tool. Okay, I have not utilized that tool set. Okay, so I suppose it's very similar to being a police officer. Okay, You don't know what you're gonna get, but you're thrown into a. So if you are a police officer, uh, most of the time nothing happens. But there will be one or two times that will be very very uh, there will be a very very different. The situation will be very very different. Okay, vast majority of the time it'll be all right, but there will be that vast majority of the time whether you may not make it back. You may not come back home. Okay, there will be situations like that, right? Vast majority of the time, because the job itself is thrown into a situation where it's dangerous. It's a dangerous situation. But in most cases, these are citations and minor infractions in most cases. But it will get into a situation where there is a felony type of situation, and when that felony type of situation arises, anything can happen. Okay, even misdemeanors can erupt in certain career-ending kind of situations because of uh, because uh, 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 because somebody there could be a medical condition that causes that erupts after that incident, right? And so 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 being the word dynamic is a very 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 it describes in a single word what the market is. The market is dynamic. It's dynamic. Okay? It can be quiet for a while. It can go up. It can go down. It can be going this way. It can be going this way. It could be doing all sorts of things. It could be range bound. It could be so there could be so what I if I reflect on what has caused see for me, it's helping me to talk about this because I wanna explore this universe, this infinitely large universe. I want to explore it. I need to explore it so that I talk about things. So what I speak of, I hear, and so whatever was in my brain, then I can adjust it because it seems to be okay. It seems to be that the thought that's in my brain is in a constant flux. And so, in order for me to adjust that constant flux in thinking, the thinking, I need to bring it out to verify what 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 level it is. Because if I don't bring it out, then my projection of my current content in my brain is is misleading and allowing me to conclude and extrapolate into more than what it really is. Words are cheap, okay? And the conclusion that I have, uh, it's easy to say, yeah, I made $1 billion, but that's not true. But in my mind, I can say that. I can say that. Also, I can say, I'm ready to make $1 billion. I can say that. It's so easy. I can say that. Saying is so easy. It's in my brain. It just came out because but it is also being. So it seems like the brain, uh, has all sorts of various things that are sugarcoating it. It's like a copper wire. It's like a copper wire running through the walls of the house. Okay, the copper wire does the main job. Okay, but there's insulators that are surrounding it, and that insulator surrounding it follows that wire all the way through to insulate the power that's being transmitted from point A to point B, right? And so the thought is the same way. So there's the factual thought that is at the core of what I'm saying. But there are things that are being coated around, like sugar coating it. Okay, it's called like sugar coating. Okay, when something is said, it's being sugar coated to make the truth more palpable. Okay, and so that's what seems to be happening. Okay, and so what's happening is so what's happening so in order for me to like really understand the situation, okay, oh okay, so what I have to do so so I'm going to be trading tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to be trading. So market is going to be open tomorrow. Okay, so I have to stick to my schedule here. All right, I have to, I have to, I have to prepare myself. Okay, I have to prepare myself. So I have a specific strategy that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a specific, a few things that I'm looking for. Okay, I'm looking for those things, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it works more so in certain market conditions, and it doesn't work as much in other market conditions. So I have to be aware of that. So these are things that I need to solidify in a concrete manner so that I can follow through. Okay, I can look I can so that I can move forward with it. Okay. So so I'm actually right now I'm just confused. I'm literally very confused. Okay, I'm very confused. Okay, I have a lot of things that for the past couple weeks it's been I'll tell you what, it's I mean it's been a horrendous thing. I thought I was in a groove. I was getting enough sleep. My employment was secure, and all of a sudden things are just becoming chaotic. Things are just what I need. Okay, so being faithful, and being a Christian uh, takes a lot out of me, and it's injected into me, and so that's what I've been avoiding going to church because there is a part when you go to church, the the primary thing is being charitable. Okay, and if I'm charitable, what I will do is be charitable, but I'm homeless. Okay, I have no money. But when I go to church, there's this spiritual need for me to be charitable. Okay? When I'm charitable and I'm homeless and I have no money, then I take uh, that Christian faith into my trading, and I want to donate it. I want to give it away. That's my way of being charitable. I can't do that. I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to become something. So that's the reason why I'm holding off going to church right now, okay? Until I've achieved something. When I achieve something that my mind is clear and thinking, okay? Uh, right now my mind is not it's not thinking straight right now. It's not. It's all over the place. It's not it really is a haze right now. It's a haze. It's really a haze. Maybe it's because I was got walloped on Friday. I don't know. And the working conditions, it's starting to bug me. Okay, I don't. I mean, there seems to be there's a lot of things going on at work. Okay, and it's starting to somebody's I'm just reaching out there, but it looks like something's happening. I can't pinpoint exactly, but the intruders know what's going on. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on. It could be this. It could be this. Okay, so here's what seems to be happening. Okay, so as a prep cook, I have to get ice from the ice machine so that when I'm working on meat, that I have to cool it, chill it. And so I have this uh, uh, hotel pan full of ice, okay, which is keeping the meat cool, okay? So I work on it. But the ice doesn't melt all the way through. And so when the ice doesn't melt all the way through, then I take that hotel pan with ice and put it in the dish area. But the person who's doing the dishes don't like that and believe that I'm doing that on purpose. And so what that person will do who's on the dish will do is take that ice and put it into the area that I'm working on, okay? So this is all based on like privilege, okay? So these people, especially, I'm not sure what their thinking is. Their thinking is completely off the wall. It's just like they want to get paid, but they don't want to do the work. I don't understand it. They want to get paid without doing any work. That's what they want to do. My way of thinking is I do the work and I get paid. That's it. It's so simple. I do the work and I get paid. But quite a few the youngsters, they don't want to get they want to get paid while they're not doing any work. That's what their thinking is. It's weird. It is odd. It's just like it's very very odd. It's like they want to get paid and they don't want to do the work. That's what their thinking is. This is weird. And so when you have this leftover ice, they don't want dirty dishes. Okay, I don't know what it is. Okay, so they want you to clean things for them so that they can do their less work. I have no idea. And so when you leave that ice, they get very upset and they take vengeance on you. I don't know. I think that's the way their thinking is. Just crazy, these people. I'm not sure. I have no idea. They don't do the work and they want to get paid. It's weird. It's weird. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like, it's weird. It's weird. So the only thing that I can do is go there, do the prep work, and get the heck out of there because there's some crazy, crazy, crazy things going on. Okay. So I have all these things going on in my mind. But I need peace. Okay, I need peace. In order for me to concentrate on day trading, I need peace. And this place is not helping. This internet cutting in and out is not helping at all. There's a lot of things that's going on. It's weird. It's like something is purposely trying to undermine my trading. So the internet cuts in and out at the most inopportune time, right? Okay, I don't know why it does that, but it started doing that recently. Okay? And now I'm trading without sleep. I'm telling you. It's weird. A lot of things are happening. I'm trading without sleep at all, okay? And when I go to work, I'm having to deal with this crazy nonsense, crazy things going on. They switched my schedule around, and just things are just going nuts around right now. There's some weird things going on, okay? But I need that stability, the peace in my mind. But all this chaotic things that are happening around me is causing me to lose, okay? Even if I am in pristine condition, I have a difficult time making money. But all these things are happening. See, right now the internet is fine. Look at that. But like when it's like at the time, like when the New York session is open or the European session is open, it does that. That can have a devastating consequence in my trading, especially when I have some good size on, okay? And it moves against me. It's over just because of that internet. So there's a lot of things going on. So this is something that I cannot control. I cannot control it. So once I become profitable, I may have to have three different levels of internet passageway, so that if one or two goes, then the third one is still active, so that I can keep trading, because that's how critical it is. Okay, because if I have some size on, especially with a 200 some, if I have some really good size on, things like that could be devastating. Okay, I could lose months, weeks of work, and the cost. Okay, so so there's some chaos going on. Okay, there's chaos. There's chaos and I didn't. It slowly start to do that. Okay, and it impacts my trading. Okay, I mean one day I was told, hey, you're not allowed to sleep anywhere on Earth. So one day I was told, you are not allowed to sleep on Earth. It is illegal. Earth has passed a law. Earth has passed a bill that says you cannot sleep on Earth. That's what it felt like that. You cannot sleep on Earth. That's what it says, okay? I wake up one day and said, somebody told me, hey, you cannot sleep on Earth. You can't. You might have a chance to sleep on Mars or Earth, but you cannot sleep on Earth. It's like that. It's craziness. Anyway, so I had a lot of things on my mind. I need to clear that up. It's gonna happen, but I have to let it out. I have to let the steaming pipe escape. I have to open the lid flip the top, and I have to flip the top and let it out, okay, to expel the gas that was inside me, okay. So I need to be prepared. So so now I see when I'm in a chaotic situation, whether it's me or the market, I tend to be not in my favor, okay. So I was watching this. I saw this. I was watching this YouTube channel about this guy named Jesse and Camp. Okay, and so he's interviewing these martial artists. Okay, they're interviewing the martial artists. Okay, so the idea is this. Okay, so the idea of being a martial artist is the primary focus of being a martial artist is to survive. That's what it is. Okay, that's it. It's surviving. Okay, the central theme of martial arts is being able to survive. That's it. That's the primary thing. One word of martial artist is to survive. And in order for it to survive, there has to be a couple things that needs to occur. One, I have to play my game, which is the discipline of the martial arts, training to become a lethal weapon. Okay, that's it. The second part is the tactical parts of being a martial artist is to throw the other person into a disarray where the engagement of the engagement of uh, conflict engagement the engagement to resolve the conflict is to be placed in my game. And so the best thing to do is to put the other person, uh, to cause the other person to be disengaged in his game. Okay, right? Apparently, that's the game of war. Okay, that's the theme of. So there's war going on. Okay, there's war going on. War is being engaged upon me, whether I'm at the restaurant or here or anywhere. Okay, war is a constant thing. Okay, war is a constant thing. Okay, it's happening. It happens all the time. Okay. It's war out there. It's war. It's war. It's a war to survive. That's what it is. It's a war. Okay? I thought it was the Democrats and the Republicans that were waging wars, but the war is on the front door, okay, of my survivability. Okay? It's my survivability. So when I go to work, it's for my own survivability, okay? And the only thing that's keeping me alive is my faith, okay? My faith is the only thing that's keeping me alive. They could have anybody doing my job. They can do that. Anybody, they can hire anybody to do my job, okay? But the reason that I'm there is because of my faith is keeping me safe. That's the only thing. But the war rages on, okay? The war rages on. It's a warfare that's going on here or here or here. Okay, it's a warfare. Okay, and I'm protecting my survivability, and at the same time, I'm fighting for my own financial welfare. Okay, I am in the fight to. I'm in a war to win the conflict of financial stability. Okay, I'm in that situation. Okay, even though I'm doing my work, there are individuals who wish to infringe upon my on my peace in order to grab whatever they need to plunder what I have in order to make their life easier. Okay, that's what they want. Okay, that's what they're doing. Okay, it's a simple matter of putting the ice into the hotel pan. It's there, so I put it there. But they go out of their way to expend their energy to put it in the place where I have because they don't want dirty dishes. They don't want anything that is added into the workload because they don't want to do the work. Okay? but it is their job. It is part of their job to dump the ice in their area because that's part of it. And so what they're saying is that they want dishes, but they want all the stuff scraped off, okay, so they don't have to clean things, okay? That's the mindset these kids have. The kids these days are effed up. Okay? Boys, not girls. Boys do that. Girls, they know what they're doing. Boys are just messed up in their head. I've observed this throughout the years as I'm working on as I'm working in the fast food industry. See, the little boys, what they would do is that they don't want to do any work, but they want to be paid. That's their thinking. That's their that's their thinking. Girls, what they do is they'll do the work and they get paid. That's what they do. They do that. Okay? It's weird. It's messed up. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know. It seems to be a generational gap or whatever it is. Okay, if you don't do it doesn't make any sense. It's it's like watching this Office Space, the movie Office Space, and the guy finally flips out. Okay, he just flips out and says one day he says, I'm not gonna work anymore. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, but you have to work. You have to do your fair share of work in order to be fairly compensated. If you don't work, you don't get paid. That's it. Maybe because there's shortage of labor or something, they know that, and I don't know. It's a good thing I'm not the owner. Okay, I'm not the owner. It's a good thing. It's uh, but I'm having to deal with it. I'm working in that area, right? So it's essentially surviving in a war. It's a raging war. I never realized it. It's a war. I never thought that trading was a war. Trading is a war. It's a war. Okay? Trading is a war. It's war. What is the definition of war? Let's see. War is generally defined as an organized armed conflict between political entities such as states, nations, or organized groups. It is characterized by widespread violence, deliberate military strategy, and the pursuit of political, economic, or territorial objectives, distinguishing it from spontaneous riots or criminal violence. Okay? So what I didn't know what I didn't know is that there outside of me, war is being raged. Okay, war. It's war. Okay? It is for me, I am an entity, and I, as an entity, need to preserve my peace and growth in many respects in order to survive. Okay? And in order for me to do that, I have to make this trading successful. But it is war. It's war. It's a warfare in mind and body and reality. That's what it is. It's a war. It's war. Okay? I didn't realize that it's war. It's war. It's like that's the reason why these siblings. That's why these siblings lied to the government. Okay, law enforcement lied. Okay, it's war. It's war. The single word is war. I didn't know that. I didn't know what that meant. It's war. Okay. The war is being raged. The reason why the public streets here, you cannot sleep on the public streets, is because they have waged war on poverty. Okay, and so it makes sense. You don't have homeless people just sleeping everywhere. You don't want that. That's why they waged war. It's war. War is everywhere. War is everywhere. So when I go, that's why these little boys, they're raging a war on everyone else. Okay, but they have a practically unlimited amount of energy to do whatever the heck they want to do. Okay, because they're young, they can get fired or whatever it is. Doesn't matter to them. Okay, they can expend and extort whatever they want to do. Okay, but an old man like myself, can only do certain things because I'm mentally and physically declining, and it makes it difficult to engage in that type of behavior. Thank God I'm only working there 4 hours a day, 3 times a week. That's it. Otherwise, I'll lose my mind if I have to work a little more than that. Okay. So this is something that that I haven't been able to like pinpoint exactly, but it is war. It's war. This is war. That's why this lawyer guy comes over and steals the printer paper off of this shelf that was right here. That was mine, right? It's crazy. It's war. It's war. It's there are friendlies and there are friendlies and there are foes, but it's war. It's something that I was not aware of. It's a war to keep myself mentally and physically sharp. It's a war. Okay, it's war. Okay, it's war. War is raging. Okay, so that's why like when I'm at like 4%, I loosen up. I keep my guard down, and when my guard is down, I forget that I'm waging a war with the market, and because the market is constantly, the market is a constant entity that is out to extract money from me. Okay, but I didn't know that. Okay, I never had a concept of understanding what the market's role is. Okay, the reason why during the summertime these financial so these people who are in the financial markets, but they go on vacation with their family. The reason why they can go on vacation with their family is because they're able to, they have made enough money so that they could take their family on vacation. That's why they're able to be in the Hamptons, because they're financially capable. So, in order for, so essentially, it's like, it's like the movie Matrix. Okay, so you have these robots that have plugged me in to the system, and I am the one that's digging things up. Okay, like a gardener. Okay, so I'm consuming energy, and then I'm giving these energy and collectively providing energy to these people who are able to go on vacation. Okay, it's war. It's war. War is being raged everywhere. Okay, and the friendlies are the Catholic faith that I've become. That's the friendlies. Okay, it is it is a faith that is helping me. That's the only friend that I have. The only friend that I have is the Catholic faith. Okay, that's it. The only so so this is war. This is like I I I I I had no idea. I had no idea the war was raging. Okay, I had no idea because I never realized. I was scratching my head. Why are all these things happening? But the top level thinking of what trading is, it's a war. Trading is war. Okay, trading is war. Okay, trading is war. Okay, not knowing what it is missing the picture of what the real reason for the game is. It's war. It's a raging war. It's war. Okay? Trading is war. Okay? That's why many people are enticed to break the law. Okay? But some people, their brain isn't wired right to wage the war correctly. Waging the war correctly is to follow the law and the rules and then be able to maneuver through it. Okay, that's the proper ways to wage war. Okay, and so these people who are trying to like see non-productive people, what they will do is, along with productive people who are feeding the system of allowing individuals to be in a non-productive environment, is to they're working in a system that is providing service to these individuals who are confused into thinking what their main purpose is they forget the big picture of what life is really about. It's an engagement of war. It's an engagement into the war of surviving. Okay, it's a and many people break laws in order to in order to benefit themselves. Many do that. Numerous people do that, okay? Because what they say is this. There are a couple of things that are thrown around, okay? One of them is you are innocent until proven guilty. That's a lie. I've experienced this. Here's an example. People who have been imprisoned for murder have been declared innocent. Right? You can only do that. You can only do that, okay? You can only do that, okay, if you are guilty until proven innocent. Right? So the person was in prison for 20 years, and then after 20 years, been declared innocent, which means literally 1-to-1. You are guilty until proven innocent. You are placed into prison for 20 years, and then you get out because you're innocent. See how they track each other? Okay, that's the truth. Okay. So what I've noticed, I forgot about this. I didn't realize that it's a war. I was like, I didn't see. I thought there has to be tenacity and intensity in what I'm doing, and it's a war. It's a war. Okay. There are at least three different worlds here. There's three different worlds. My world, the Wall Street world, and there's the working world. I have to put myself into that working world, and it's a war there. Okay, it's a war. It's war, because when I'm there, I'm soaking in conflict. Okay, and I don't want anything to do with it so that I can preserve my peace. So I can get back here to retain my peace, but it's not like a one-day thing and it's over with. It's a constant. It's every week. I'm there every week, every day, right? Almost every day, every week. So I'm placed in a situation in a hostile situation. Okay, I'm in a very hostile situation. I never realized this. I'm in a hostile situation. Okay, I'm in a hostile situation. Okay, I didn't realize what was happening. I'm in a hostile situation. Okay. The work that I'm doing at a fast food restaurant is essentially a hostile situation. It really is a hostile situation. Okay? So that means I have to protect myself. Okay? Protecting myself is keeping myself isolated from whatever's happening. That's it. Okay, that's it. I have to protect myself by keeping myself isolated to whatever's happening there. Okay? Whatever's happening there, I have to separate myself while still being employed. Okay? And I have to thank God. Okay? I have to thank God that I'm still employed there after 5 years. Okay? That was the only reason that I'm still employed there. Okay? They could have easily fired me. Okay? More credible people could have said, hey, that guy needs to be fired. I could have been fired. Okay? People who've been there longer could say, hey, that guy, you need to fire that guy. Okay? But I somehow I survived all that. I survived it. Okay? So trading is war. And so I'm thinking, okay, so I'm studying this, I'm studying that, I'm studying this. But I have to take it very seriously. It's war. What I'm doing is war. It's a war to survive. It's a war. I couldn't figure out the big picture of what I was doing. And that's why I got confused, and I'm thinking, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Okay? So that's why people who have a job as a software engineer, who's dabbling in trading, they'll go 8 years losing every penny that they have because they're not taking it seriously. It's war. Trading is war. It's war. Okay? I didn't realize that. It's war. You have all these nice things that are here. You know, even in Regis has these posters that have like what tenacity, all that stuff. Your all the stuff. It's war. It's war. It's war. Okay, it's war. Okay, it's war. I'm telling you, there's only one word that describes this. It's war. It's war. It's a war for survivability. They could have thrown me out. They could have just said, "Hey, look, I know I'm no angel. I'm not, okay? I'm a human being and I make mistakes. They could have easily thrown me out. I couldn't have done anything about it. But there's somehow, I don't know what happened, but they're kind. So I'm still here, okay? That's the only thing that's keeping me here, okay? That's the only thing. They could have tossed me out. They could have thrown me out. Like years ago, they could have thrown me out, okay? But I'm still here. But I didn't realize what the game is. It's war. It's war. Okay, it's war. Okay? And the way that it's engaged is this. That's why these martial artists are trying to become the best so that they can have the equipment to wage war. And one of the tactics of war is to be so good, so powerful. Then once I become powerful, then the next game is to tilt them into a situation where the opponent is doing my game, okay? Not their game. I could be so prepared, but if I'm falling into their trap, then I'm going to suffer casualties. I had no idea. I had no idea what the game was about. I had no idea. This is truly a war. It's a war. People make movies about these characters of this, but it's really a war between these characters. Just like these, just like the good and the bad and the ugly, right? They're primarily the three characters. The one that's ugly and the blondie, the good, are in conflict, but it's a war. Okay, but the good guy is allowing the ugly guy to survive, is giving him the opportunity to survive. But the ugly guy, if he had it his own way, the good guy would not survive. Okay, it's a war. It's war. It's the survival of the fittest. It is it. It's war. The casualties are in the homeless shelter. It's making. Wow, I had no idea. I had no idea. See, I've been living life for 57 years, and I had no idea. I had no idea. Okay. I had no idea what the name of the game is. Okay, name of the game of life is, the only way that I figured this out is through trading. It's essentially a war. It's war. That's why these siblings lied. Okay, it's a war to them. I'm nobody. I'm nobody to them. Okay. I'm a nobody to them. And so they can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. I'm inconsequential to their life. It's a war. It's a raging war for them to survive. It doesn't matter. Okay? It does not matter. So there's two things that are on my criminal record. One of them is misdemeanor and the other is a felony. Okay? So both were at the hands of the sibling. Okay? Okay, so I pushed the sibling because one day I was trying to get some sleep and the guy just beat the crap out of me. Okay, and I had bruises the next day, black and blue, literally black and blue, big bruises. Okay, so I knocked him down a couple years after that, but he called the police. I didn't call the police, right? And so I had this misdemeanor. Okay, then the criminal attorney that I hired, he says, "It's okay to tell a lie. It's okay." That's what he said. Right? It's okay to tell a lie, right? That's what he said. Literally, that's what he said. It's war. In war, you can tell a lie. That's why when police officers pull over the people who are criminals, they can tell lies. They don't have to. It's war. I was trying to scratch my head. So why is it that the police officers are able to get away with that, but the people who are being investigated can't get away with that? Why is that? It's war. It's war. It's a warfare. I could say it as nicely as possible. I'll put it in a very, very nicest way I can possibly say it. It's war. The only factor in life that is providing any amount of peace is faith in Christianity. That's the only thing. But everything else is war. It's a warfare. Okay? It's a warfare. It's war. It's war. That's why politics is even worse. Because they can legally murder somebody, okay? And they can be scot-free. They can do that. They can literally put people in bars for years, okay? Because of political thing. It's a war. It's like political thing, right? So I didn't realize that I was waging a war in trading. I didn't know that, okay? And so so far, I haven't taken it very seriously. because I didn't realize what the name of the game, the objective of the game is. It's a war. It's a war. If I lose, I can't. Wow. Trading is war, okay? And it is it and in order to win the war, I have to do a couple things. One, become infinitely competent. Second, play my game, not their game. That's why I lost. That's what the market does. So that market rattles things, okay? The economy comes over, economic news comes over, it rattles me, okay? So the market is waging a war against me, okay? And it rattled me, okay? And so when I'm rattled, I'm playing their game, not my game. That's why I lost. That's why when I saw that big red candle, I'm thinking, okay, so, and it paused for a little bit. So I got in. But that pause was to collect those people with the elevator of going down further, okay? It's like that movie Resident Evil, the first part, where these people are trapped in an elevator, okay? They're trapped in an elevator, okay? So the elevator goes down a little bit and then slams, okay? That's what's happening. It's anything is possible. Anything is possible. The way that the craftiness and the skill set and all that is waging a war. It's a war. It's war. It reminds me of this Chris Farley sketch on Saturday Night Live, okay? So he's a motivational speaker and he lives in a van down by the river, okay? So he was invited with a family and the mom and a pop sitting on a couch and the son and the daughters on the other side, and he's saying don't use drugs and all that stuff, and he's speaking, and then he falls down on the coffee table and breaks the coffee table, right? So these Saturday Night Live comedians are breaking character because it is truly very funny, right? You have this overweight person, okay, who's living in a van down by the river, okay? Okay? But he doesn't know what the name of the game is. Okay? He doesn't know. It's a war. It's a war. That's why it makes sense. It's war. But quietly and sophisticated individuals keep it hush. Okay? They keep it hush, okay? Because it is in the best interest, keep it quiet. Keep it quiet. It's war. That's why people say, "Oh, money is not important. Money is not important." It's called in warfare in I believe it was in Vietnam, okay? And so there's this Viet Cong who was on the radio station and says, "Hey, they would spread propaganda and all that stuff, right? They do that. They send out leaflets and all that stuff to say, hey, stop what you're doing. You better go home, and all that stuff. It's all part of war. It's war. It's war. One word, three-letter word. It's called war. Okay. So at the top of the trading mountain, okay, there's a word. There's a flag that is planted on top of it. Okay, the flag that's planted on the top of the mountain of trading is the three-letter word. It's called war. Okay, it's war, man. It's war. Okay, it's war. It's war. This war has been raging, okay, since dawn of mankind, and it is played out in trading. It's about taking my money. That's why on Albrook's trading course, it says, my job is to take money from you, and it's your job to take money from me. That's how it works. Money flows in here, money flows in here, money flows out here. Okay? That's the octagon. That's the octagon of. That's why Trump loves fighting. Okay, that's why he loves fighting. That's why he's having UFC at the White House. He knows what it is. It's truly a war. It's war. The war has been raging on. Okay, it's been raging on since the dawn of time. It's war, man. It's war. Okay? And people forget, like myself, forget. I go, hey, what happened? Hey, why did that guy cut me off? Why did he do that? Oh, hey, why did those people lie and get me convicted of a felony? Why did they do that? Huh? Why did they do that? Why? Because it's war. It's war, okay? It's war, okay? I know it. I'm awake, okay? I'm awake. I'm telling you, I'm awake. I am awake now, okay? I was asleep. I didn't realize. At the top of the mountain of trading, the flag with the three-letter word is, it's war. It's war, okay? It's war. I declare war, okay? Amazing. It's war, man. It's war, okay? It's war, okay? That's why there's a church. Okay, wow. See, that's why there's a church, okay? So people wage war during the day. It's perfectly acceptable. It's war. It's war. The church knows. The church knows it's war. It's war. It's warfare. And in order to survive in this world, it's war, okay? So there's a thing called the spiritual warfare, okay? There's a spiritual warfare. It's not like, I pray, I pray, I pray. Oh, Mary, I pray, okay? Sure, there's things like that, but that's just not it. It's just not it. They'll fire you. They'll put you in poverty, okay? They will take away things. They'll say things, they'll do things, they'll undermine your life, okay? That's the spiritual warfare. For years, I thought, people say, well, it's a spiritual warfare. But the spiritual warfare has physical consequences, which is loss of jobs, okay? Loss of credibility, okay? Into criminal actions. People lie and put you in certain situations, make you get addicted to the 7 deadly sins. They'll put you in compromising situations, okay? To allow your inner humanity to come out, to grab and then put yourself into a compromised situation. It's warfare. It took me, I am a 57 years old man. I had no idea. I was sitting near the back of a calculus class in high school, and I'm wondering, why am I sitting here? Why am I sitting here? And what the teachers and all the organizations of the world is not saying this. You are sitting in that classroom to be prepared to wage war for your own survivability. We're equipping you, teaching everybody the same. But in reality, the grades that I gave you is a reflection of how well you will do in life, okay? Because it's a war. And because you're not aware of it, nobody told you, okay? But it is a raging war. Just think about that. It's a war. It's war, okay? That's why when I go to work, it's war. It's war. That's what these 15, 16-year-olds are waging. They know what they're doing. They're raging a war. They're war. They're winning the war by doing no work and getting paid. That's their job. To cause chaos around them. Okay, that's war. Okay, that's what they're doing. I didn't understand what they were doing, but now I do understand. They're waging a war against the people who are around them. Their main idea is to not work, get paid, and disrupt as much as possible. Those are the 3 things. They're waging a war, okay? They must have read something on Sun Tzu's warfare, game of warfare. They must have read that. They're doing game theory, okay? These kids, they're doing that. They're waging a war, okay? I didn't know that. I couldn't figure out why. I'm just minding my own business, doing my work, and then getting out of there. But they're waging a war, okay? That's what they're doing, okay? Except that they don't see that there are people who are observing what they're doing. And the ultimate consequence of what they're doing is that it is undermining the productivity of the restaurant. Okay, and that has certain consequences. They may get away with it today. They may have gotten away yesterday, but they will pay for their actions someday. Someday they'll pay for it. Okay, they may not pay for it now, but they'll most likely pay for it later. Okay, but what I've seen is this: it's a war. The war has been raging. I didn't know that. I had no idea, but now I finally figured this out. It's a war. It's war. It's war, man. It's war. See, I was like, niceties. I was thinking, oh, hey, why did that person talk to me like that? Why did that person not give me the popcorn that I wanted? It's war. That's why. It's war. It's war. Okay? They're waging a war against me. Okay? That's what they're doing. It's perfectly legal. But on the neutral ground of the church, that's why the church is a neutral ground. Okay? That's why the only friends that I have is in the church. Okay? That's the only reason why I'm still employed. Okay? Somehow I'm still here despite I'm giving every reason for them to kick me out of here. Okay? I've given that to them. Okay? I've given every reason for them to kick me out. Okay? Even the building owner, okay, maybe there might be stretching a little bit, but I probably gave him some reasons why. Okay? But this is war. Okay, so I'm declaring this. Okay? I'm telling you, this is war. This is war. Okay? So Al Brooks says this. Okay? Your job is to make money. Your job is to take money from me, and my job is to take money from you. Okay? Along with that, just like poker, you have rake fees. Okay? The rake fee is the institutions that are housing this transaction that is going on. And then they take money from it, like commissions and all that stuff, right? Slippages and all that stuff. They're taking the money out so they can take their family on vacation during the summertime, okay? And then moves like this is a perfect example of me losing control of my stability and peace so that I can play in the hands of the market. Okay, that's the strategy. It's a game. It's a game theory. It's a game theory that's being played out in trading. Look at that. The way that it moves like this, I could be suckered into it because I don't know where the bottom is. Okay? And I get in, it looks like it's going to pull back, but it's too early. Okay? And so that means if I don't have a stop loss, so many people would have lost their accounts just on Friday. So many people would have lost. They would have lost so much money on Friday because they forgot. They forgot to put the stop loss in there, okay? Because many don't appreciate what's really going on. It's a warfare. Friday has taught me that this is war, okay? War has been raging, okay? And I didn't know about it. The war has been raging since birth. God created me to be in this. It's the gladiators, okay? It's the gladiators. It's war. It's war, okay? So so people who get the drift knows what's going on. They know what the game is. But sitting in the back of their mind, it's war. Okay? It's war. Okay? It's 240. Okay? I had no idea. It's war. It's war. Okay? The market wants me to play its game, but I need to play my game. Okay? That's war. In martial arts, I become very good at what I'm doing, become a lethal weapon. And then I cause the opponent to play my game. I don't play their game. Okay? That's warfare. That's war. Martial arts is about being war. The purpose of war is to survive. It's to survive. It's taking the offense of survivability. They say, well, you have to be offensive. You have to be on the offense. Okay? War is raging. It's war. Okay? The thing about working at a restaurant and waging a war is this. Being peaceful is a tool to waging a war. Okay? Being peaceful is a powerful tool in winning the war, right? Because if you get caught by the owner and you're causing terror and disruption at his restaurant, okay? At his restaurant, the consequences will not be upon the person who's peaceful, but the person who is waging and raging and terrorizing the people who are around them, okay? Being peaceful is a tool, okay? Being peaceful is a tool, okay? But here in trading language, okay, in trading language, you have to wage a war. It's a survivability. You have to survive. And war is a means to survive. This is war. Okay, this is war right there. I had no idea. Al Brooks, who is a world-renowned trader, says this: my job is to take money from you, and your job is to take money from me. Okay? Some of the money, some percentage will be taken out in the service of providing that exchange of financial conflict, okay? To prepare the stage where there is a interplay of exchange of money occurs, okay? That's how the money escapes. There's a seepage, there's a leaky bucket into the situation, okay? That's what's going on. It's war. Okay, so what has to happen is this, okay? The intensity may not last, or I may forget, but probably I will never forget this. I will never forget this for the rest of my life, which is this. There's a three-letter word. There's a three-letter word that clearly defines the thing about life, okay? Life, okay? All right? About life. When a baby is born, it's either mama, or dada, right? Mama or dada. Those are the two words, okay? The third word is war. You have to know what this word is. I was thinking about, see, I am a 57-year-old man, and I was confused all my life, and it showed throughout my life. I lost my job. I wasn't able to make a name for myself. I wasn't able to hold down a job. I wasn't able to accrue finances to keep me. I had all the opportunity to do that. I had all the opportunity to save money for my old age. I did, just like everybody else. Okay, but I was confused. I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, I had no idea. And so the turtle and a hare story is a perfect example. Okay, the turtle and a hare is a perfect example of what life really is about. And the ants and the grasshopper, the idea, the principle behind it is perfectly secure. The ants are picking up little things in preparation for winter to survive because it's a war. They know it. But the grasshopper was confused. It didn't know because there's too many. The plenty is there. When winter hits, suddenly, he still doesn't know what life is really about. Okay, and that's how it has been. Okay, it's a warfare. It's war. Okay, it's war. All right, and what and people are motivated. These people are motivated because they know what the game is. But the game of warfare has to be. You have to carefully balance. You have to carefully balance in the social law, okay, and proceed because there are plenty of opportunities still being had while playing the game of social while keeping in step with social requirements. Okay, social requirements. To live in the society, you must follow the human law. Okay, human law. But some people will skirt around it and break laws. Okay, and cause disruptions in other people. Okay, that's what happens. That's the situation. Okay. So the single very very important word is surviving. Surviving is the baby knows If the baby is hungry, it's going to start crying to attract some attention. And generally speaking, the baby will provide some clues to why the baby is crying. Okay? It is trying to survive. Okay? It has been programmed on a genetic level to survive. And when that happens for needs of attention, then there will be a higher chance a, a cry of hope is being placed, and food will be provided because the baby is unable to provide the food for itself. Okay, and it does that because it wants to survive, and is learning. I have been doing that, but I could not put the words behind how I was living to clearly substantiate what I was doing to moving in a direction. Okay, to finally move in a direction where my mind is clear and I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and so that I can focus my energy onto something instead of being distracted. Okay, so the name of the game is essentially I was trying to have a conversation about I was trying to have a conversation what I would have what what kind of conversation I would have with my kids is this. Okay, the reality is this. Sure, it's nice and all that stuff. Okay, it's good to have God in your life. It really is because it creates it. Because without God, the world is a warfare. It's war. It's a raging war. But God in my life is that breaking of the dark clouds and opening up the tranquility and peace and higher meaning in life. Okay? But here on earth, the three-letter word that defines my existence is something called war. It's war. It's been raging. It's war. It's a war for me to keep my sanity. It's a war to keep my mental aptitude up to date. It's a war to keep myself fed. It's a war. Okay, why am I living out of my car? Okay, I haven't been successful in raging my war. Okay, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what the name of the game was. I didn't know what the name of the game is. Okay, so some people give a little hints about what the true meaning of and why they would say that. A perfectly smart, very educated individuals would say this, okay? And they become a multi-millionaire, and they're trying to give clues to what the name of the game truly is. Is they say, well, it's like professional athletic event, okay? You're playing something, okay? So if you're playing basketball, you're out. It's a war, man. It's war. It's war. They'll elbow you. They'll knock you down. They'll kick you down. They'll block you. They'll scratch your face. They'll in basketball, okay? They'll do that. They'll attack you. They'll do something, okay? That's what their main thing is. But there are within certain legal barriers that they cannot cross. If they cross that, then their career will be over. Okay, so if a football player blocks somebody on their kneecaps and they destroy somebody's kneecap, there are rules that prohibits that. But if you do that, okay, maliciously, you're not gonna be making millions of bucks a year. You're gone. It's over. Okay, you have to play by the rules. Okay, sure, it's a warfare, but you have to abide by the rules of engagement. Okay, that's what happens. Okay, if you have a really good football player, I'm sure there are teams out there who is praying that they don't come out and play against them, right? And so they're in a warfare. Okay, so when Tom Brady was asked, okay, so you're the GOAT, so how can you define what the GOAT is? And he says, well, being a GOAT means you have surrounding individuals who are supporting the the objective of being a truly uh, exceptional team player. Okay, and he cannot do that by himself, right? You have to have a coach, you have the team members, you have to have the defensive line, you have all these people. You have to have the media, you have to have all the support that makes him an untouchable to illegal disruption to his game. You can only do that by playing the game itself to defeat somebody to knock him off of being a GOAT status. Okay, it's quite interesting that the devil is looks just like a goat, but in humanity terms, the goat is revered and esteemed as something that is incredibly a top-notch kind of thing, isn't it? It's weird. Okay. And then the sheep is no, anyway. Okay, so I had no idea. I was confused. I didn't realize what was going on. Okay, maybe when I was 6 years old and I ran headlong into the concrete bridge and I was knocked out all day. It scrambled my brain, and it took me all this 57 years. It took me 51 years to really have my brain clipped together, because nobody's telling me this. Nobody told me this. Maybe they did say that to me. Somebody did say that. Okay, maybe somebody told me this, but nobody really told me about what was going on. Nobody really told me. Okay, because probably most people are still confused. Most people are all confused of what the real reality of the situation is. Okay, so why are people billionaires? Why does it seem like some people are better off than other people? And why is it those people who, just like these Vietnamese people who have escaped communism, why do they work so hard to do something? Okay, why do they do that, right? Because they know that it's war. It's raging war. They know they've been on the front lines. They've been on the front lines and they know what's going on. But somebody like myself who's clueless, I'm homeless, living out of my car, okay, and being afraid that somebody's going to keep me out of here and there, and afraid of being like losing my job, okay, losing focus of what the reality is. It's war. I have to make better of myself. If I don't wake up to the fact that it is truly a war, and I don't make better, if I don't look out for myself, I'm going to be in this situation forever, okay, being in the cesspool of life. Okay, people who are confused are homeless because they don't see the benefits, all the benefits that they could do to lift themselves up to get out of that situation, whether they are in some sort of chemically induced kind of a compromised situation or not. Perhaps the choices that they made have caused them to be in that state. Maybe they have some mental disorders that they cannot fix for themselves, but if they have some sort of psychological something out there to give them that clue to help themselves out, that they can figure something out to fix whatever the issue is, to put themselves in a better situation. Okay. And the word that it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that it has led me to this after 5.5 years, a little over 5.5 years now. Okay, it's June. So the reality is, first I was born, I was living in a war. Then approximately about 15 years ago, I found God. Okay, then I discovered God, and then finally realized what life is really about. It's war right now. At age 57 years old, I realized what was going on, and I was literally living in a world of war. Okay, it's war. There's a thin line of societal law that's keeping order. Okay, but what happens is, in life, society and the human being has the innate need to be mischievous and sinful, and those are the outliers that work at a fast food restaurant. Okay, that's what happens. Okay, that's what happens. And I've been exposed to that. I've been exposed to the underbelly of society, where confusion, utter chaos existed. Okay, because that's where I am. Because I was confused. Okay, but the reality is this: the war has been raging, and I didn't know about it. And when I was trading like this, and I'm essentially ruining my own chances of making it through life in trading, by allowing myself to be in a prone position where I'm playing the game where the market wants to be in. And I can only end up in one position, one way: to lose. In order for me to succeed in life, to survive, is to play my own game. My own game is in the best interest of myself. The best interest of myself is to create a foundation and a strategy to make myself more survivable. When I do that, then I'm better equipped Just like being a martial artist, the name of the game is to survive. In order for a martial artist to survive, that person has to be at the best of his own capability to become a lethal weapon. Once that happens, there's that added strategy. That strategy is to take my innate preparational work, take it to the grounds of warfare, then at the same time cause disruption in the other party by causing disruptions and chaos in the other party. And when that happens, my game is an edge. That edge is going to be far better and far more effective against the foe that is confused and disrupted and is playing my game. In essence, I have to be the market. I have to be the market. I have to be the market. I have to be Mr. Market. Okay? I have to be the market. In order for me to win the game, I have to be the market. I am the market. I am the market. Okay, I am the market. I have to be the market. I have to be the market. I have to cause the disruption in others. I am against the retail traders. Retail traders feed my vacation. Retail traders feed the fuel that goes into my car. The retail traders feed whatever I need. The retail traders feed my hunger and desire for steak. The retail traders feed, okay? Retail traders are the ones who are feeding me, okay? I am Mr. Market.